Hello everyone, it is now about 11 o'clock in the morning on December the 6th, 2019, and I'm out here in front of Greeneville, Tennessee's only Hobby Lobby. Now before I continue on with this vlog, let me say that this video in this channel is meant for all ages, not just for children 13 and under, but to underscore that and to keep the bots from giving me a hard time, I need to say some adult words and phrases now. So, suppository, I Love Lucy, Piccadilly, buttermilk, liverwurst and sauerkraut. Okay, I think that's enough. Let's get on in here. Only a little bit of a struggle to walk around and find the art section separate from the craft section, but here we go. Managed to find the collar wheel Miss Patty wanted me to pick up. And I think I'm going to go ahead and get some of this basic white acrylic that I was almost completely out of. I definitely needed that. Also just noticed this for $24, a whole set of watercolors with a reservoir in the middle there, and it's a closable clamshell, and I think it comes with one of these paint brushes where you can put water on the inside and keep the bristles wet. That'd be a really nice thing for walking around, and if I'm going to be doing the whole art vlogging thing, that's a neat to get. I really like this. This visual journal, of course you just tear that off. This is going to be the cover. It's got a nice brown kind of faux steampunk look to it, and the paper itself nice and thick. So hold up to watercolor and acrylics, thinning them out with lots of water. It's a good size to fit into a bag too. I'm gonna go with that. Well, despite it being the Friday after Black Friday and the madness of the inside the stores and the traffic, I'm actually really enjoying myself out here on this Friday afternoon. It feels like it's in the 50s, it's overcast, and anyway, right here in Greeneville at Greeneville's College, Tusculum, right next to it, of course, you're going to be getting these kitschy, privately owned coffee shops like this. Well, this one's a drive-through coffee shop called the Creamy Cup. The Creamy Cup. And despite the fact that fall is over and Thanksgiving is over, they are still serving a pumpkin pie latte. I'm going to go try it. And there you have it. This side right here is the walk-up window. Well, I'm just now noticing that they also have Dr. Enough and Cheerwine slushies here. That's it's going to have to be featured in a future episode right there. And there it is. Doesn't have the big fluffy whipped cream cap on the top like the sign says, but it should be good. We got a nice frothy top to it there. And now the question is it going to be better than Starbucks pumpkin spice latte? I think by the sheer fact of it being like freshly brewed, and it's got a perfect ratio of pumpkin spice in there. I didn't have to add any sugar at all to it. It's just good. I'm gonna say I enjoy this. I enjoy this maybe a little bit more than the pumpkin spice latte. While sitting here next to the drive-through coffee shop, drinking my coffee, I think I'm going to go ahead and do today's art exercise by taking advantage of this beautiful view right here with the bare tree and this old, well, I don't know how old the building is, but it looks really cool. It looks kind of rustic. That whole scene right there, it's beautiful. So I'm going to try to draw it out and then fill in the details with the zebra marker and then smudge in some color with the chalk pastels and maybe do a few some layering, but definitely finish it off by fixing it in place with the spray fixative. So well, let's get started, see how this comes out. And there it is, complete. Definitely need some work with my line work. Of course, the lines in the background should be a lot thinner than the ones in the foreground. Definitely need some work there. I like how I got the fall leaves still attached to the tree a little bit. I thought that was pretty good. But the pattern of the fallen leaves down here looks a little amateurish. I feel like I could stylize that a lot better. A few more things, of course. Just need more practice. It's 11:40 the next morning now on Saturday morning. And Saturday morning means flea markets. That brings us out here to the Trading Post Flea Market in Sevierville, Tennessee. See what we can find. It's a gorgeous morning out here. Feels like it's up around 60 degrees. It's bright. So we buy Granny's old stuff. Old. O-L. Looks like they do. This looks like a prop from a Christmas movie or something. The Old West in here. It's before air conditioning. Rely on shade. Wow. This is fascinating. Oh, talk about a candid looking picture from the real Old West right there. Not done up in suits. They're in their work clothes. Not a lot of pictures like that exist. Like that. You can actually see where the wind was blowing the trees. So it took like a minute or two for these pictures to expose. They had a little bit of wind action right there on the fabric. But they stayed pretty still. Oh wow. That's a sod house. That's how they did it. The earthen houses back then. Just squares of sod stacked up. It was strong enough to hold a roof, insulate. Cheap to make, lasted years. Oh, look at that. Hand-hewn log house with thick chinking. Oh man, they didn't even bother taking the bark off of these trees. Arkham City. Yeah, that's a stack that's been well picked through. Martha! Why did you say that name? Martha! Connect. Bunch of Lego figures here. $3 a piece. 2 for $5. I'm not really a Lego collector. However, they do have a little bit of video game stuff. Skylanders. Oh, there's the Spyro. Actually, I already have the Spyro. It's turning out to be a real 8-track day. Here's something you don't see very often. A portable 8-track player. Like a ghetto blaster or boombox. It's got a shoulder strap there. And it also runs off of batteries if you want it to do that. Batteries can go in right there, and it's got a power supply connection here. It's plugged in right now to actually demonstrate that it's still working. See the light on? And yeah, it's got an Elvis 8-track in there right now, set on track 3. I can't really let you hear the song playing, maybe for just a second. Hopefully it won't get me a copyright strike, but see it's working. Okay, it's working. It's crazy. You can take this thing, put a bunch of D batteries in it, and put it over your shoulder and just walk around with everybody else with their phones and their iPods. Well, iPods are out now, but yeah, Bluetooth stuff in their ears, and you could be like a real hipster on the bus with this thing over your shoulder, listening to old 8-tracks. I think when this guy acquired it, it came with all these other 8-tracks as well. Man, such a selection here. I'm not really a music person, but my goodness, if I started collecting, I would just I would jump on this and buy this whole lot. Let's see if I was an audiophile like that, because you don't see this kind of deal very often. Wow. It's about 1 o'clock now, and only after exhausting all the outside vendors, you go inside the building. But we've got a lot of hand-painted snacks on here, saying there's probably some flea market food, lunch stuff in there as well, so let's go get some flea market lunch. The Star Wars board game accompanied with a VHS tape. And so I'm thinking it has some like trivia parts to it. I've only ever seen this one other time, and then it was in an antique store. That's actually kind of tempting to get. I've got a friend that is over the top Star Wars fan that would like this, but I have a feeling I would give it to him and he would say, I don't have a VHS player. What am I going to do with this? This section right here really looks like a weapons cache on a first-person shooter, doesn't it? Like you should just walk up and then the lids open on their own and then there's a cha-chunk sound. And sometimes the whole package vanishes. What makes the smoke come out of it like that? Oh.
Burns in a little piece of charcoal.
A little bit of incense or something in there. Huh.
A small piece of charcoal that we dip in the oil.
Okay. And there it is. It's come out now. It's a nice little diner here. It's definitely not the street tacos over at the Tri-Cities flea market. It's more of the traditional Tex-Mex tacos. Not nearly as expensive, so I like it partly for that, and also I like the option to have the fries added to it. I am still American after all. Let's see what these taste like. Very good. Definitely got the shredded queso cheese, the white cheese on there. The shredded chicken's got a good flavor to it. Yeah, this definitely was not just kind of thrown together by somebody that doesn't care. They were trying to make a good product here, and they did. That's really good. It is about 2 o'clock now, and we're reaching that point in the video where I've got to cut things off because I like to keep my videos to the right length for people can watch them on their lunch break. So let me just show off what I got out here today, starting with that book that I found so fascinating. It had the real candid pictures from the Old West, and that was the Rangers. But I ended up getting all 4 of these for $15, and it also has the same kind of material for exploring Alaska, riverboats, and also Express, which is covered wagons. So not only is this going to be fun to read, fascinating to read, but I've also got a lot of pictures now that I can draw from. It's going to be awesome. As far as DVDs, I got Alita, Battle Angel, based on the manga and anime, and then Wonder Woman, again based off of comics. And it's funny I would find these two movies at the same time, and because I believe they are really great examples of girl power done right. 2 women characters that are still very feminine, with depth to their personality. They fail, they get upset, they cry, they pick themselves up, and they are very powerful and strong-willed, and they just have depth. I think it's missing in some movies nowadays. Then I got Furious, just out of curiosity, and then a video game acquisition for $1, and it's a GameCube game, and I just haven't been collecting the Lord of the Rings games, but to get one for $1 for the GameCube, that's not bad. Didn't do a whole lot of video game purchases today. I think that's the only one actually. A handful of tools for $5, because needle nose pliers, vice grips, and a small crescent wrench. That's why. I mean, if I had a way of attaching these to my belt and having them at all times and it would be socially acceptable, I would probably do it. Then on VHSs, I got Ringling Brothers, because after they got in trouble for abusing their elephants, and then their whole show was nerfed because of it, and I think, I'm not totally positive, but I think either their shell of their former self are just completely out of business. That makes this video from their heyday kind of a novelty to have. And then the Country Bear Jamboree, because Christopher Walken's. And then Amos and Andrews, because Nicolas Cage. That's the only reason why I got it. I saw Nicolas Cage and I wanted it. And we got Treehouse Hostage because I'm a fan of Jim Varney, and with all the compilations you get, I don't remember ever seeing this in one of the compilations. I think this is one of his lesser known ones. You know, he's got his funky little characters that he's playing there. So, should be able to get a chuckle or two out of that, I hope. Now, then we've got 60 all-time favorites, and this is radio shows from like the 40s and 50s. And the thing that really drew me to this is it's not just your typical Fibber McGee and Molly and Charlie McCarthy and Edgar Bergen and the Lone Ranger, all the ones that you've already heard a ton of times. They've thrown in a bunch of other ones that are not as well known, and this entire collection is all, oh look at that, there's a little booklet that goes with it, little guide booklet, but they're all on these really clean cassette tapes, and not a single speck of white, like mildewy residue on the insides of the tapes. They look like they were stored in the right temperature, just pristine and beautiful. And so all the road tripping I'm doing, these things are money in the bank. They're awesome, and I got a fantastic deal on this thing. The find of the day, though, guys, has got to be this here. This is a Christmas toy. Yeah, the Christmas toy. As Christmas specials found out in the wild or at flea markets go, this one is relatively rare. Not as rare as a Muppets Family Christmas, but still pretty rare, and so I was happy to find this. And now that we are past Thanksgiving and it's time for me to start making some videos with some actual Christmas content, I think this is going to be my first one. So me and Clatters are going to do a review of this. So be watching for that. Alright, so that's all my acquisitions for the day. Had a great time out here. I'm going to say that it was not quite as good as the Tri-Cities Flea Market over in Bristol. It was close. It was close. Still had a great time. And that's it for this one. Guys, if you've enjoyed this, please hit that thumbs up like button. Leave some comments. Subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to ring the bell icon. Go over and select all so you'll start getting notifications on all my future updates. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one.